All right, here we go. OverDrive off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker, up on TSN 4, streaming live on YouTube Live, up on TSN's YouTube channel. Brian Hayes, Yo-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan.
What's going on?
What's going on?
Habs fans, if there's a trade for a guy like Crosby, sometimes a young star player goes the other way. That's all I was trying to implicate, okay? The hatred, because last year I had a comment about...
Okay, we need the backstory here.
Dude.
All right?
We were talking... Well,
I jammed you guys up. It was a bit of a jam job, but we're just, we're free.
Well, you threw this out there. You're like, if Crosby goes to Montreal, what would you... And then it was like, Demidov.
I'm proud of my comments.
Okay, well, I just said 1-for-1 Demidov for Crosby.
And
Very
then
simple question.
I said it would have to be a guy like Lane Hudson, wouldn't it? Like, we're talking about a top 5 possibly player of all time. And I understand, like, the Gretzky trade. It was like Jimmy Carson.
Marty Jelena.
Who else? Marty Jelena. Like, there's different. Did Marty Jelena go from L.A. to Edmonton?
I think he went with – no, what did he do? Marty Jelena was in that trade, was he not?
I don't remember Marty Jelena being involved in
Maybe
anything.
I'm wrong.
But yes,
like, it's
to
just,
your point.
I threw out – like, you would have to think a guy like Lane Hudson would – like, maybe he'd be asked about, talked about.
I would think Kyle Dubas would pick up the phone and mention some names like Lane Hudson, Ivan Demidov.
So one of you guys mentioned Slavkovsky. Like, I don't know.
Out.
Like, if you're gonna trade for Crosby, like, you're looking to get a young player that's a stud on the way back. Sorry.
Right. Well, let's clarify
something.
something. You're nuts if you're not giving up Slavkovsky for Crosby. Okay? You've lost your mind if you're not willing to do that. Because I think I have said this for a while. You guys may have disagreed with me. I know. Oh, you have. I think Sid's going Tom Brady here. I think he's playing until he's 42, 43. I think all he knows is hockey. All he does is play hockey. All he does is train. And I think he's going to play for a long time, like another 4 or 5 years. And I think you have another 2 or 3. Yes, I do.
4 or 5 years?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he keep playing? That's all he does is hockey. I don't know anything else about this guy. He's been in our lives for 25 years. I don't know anything. I don't know what kind of music he likes. I don't know what kind of food he's into. I don't know anything about Sidney Crosby other than hockey because that's the way he operates. So I think he's going to play for a long time. The Demidov, Hudson thing, whatever. But, hey, it's Sid. Like, if you're Pittsburgh, you're asking for the world.
You do ask for
the entertainment value of having Sidney Crosby in your market would be phenomenal.
Dude, they chant his name even as a bit like when he goes there with Pittsburgh.
Right.
Even at the Four Nations.
He was the man. He was the king. He was the king of Montreal.
He's a Mount Rushmore player or close to it for me. He's that good, like generational. I just think my point on it was the Pittsburgh Penguins, if you're going scorched earth, like getting a young play, like you got to get draft picks. You've got to get stuff like that because at the end of the day, like what's getting a 22-year-old, like now you're in the Chicago mold where they had to move Doc and move all these players. Like I think they're years away once you go through a rebuild. So they need top picks. Like that's where I was saying, get first rounders, get all of that type of stuff, prospects, like not live roster players because that won't help Pittsburgh right now because they're not trying to win. They're going to go scorched earth.
But still, if you're going to get a high-end player, again, this is hypothetical, but why would you take a pick over Demidov, who's here now is 20?
I think you need a stud live body, man.
I don't think so. I don't think he'll get that much at 38 years old. I personally, why would you trade Demidov? Demidov might be their best player in a year from now.
He might be, or he might not be. Or maybe he develops into just an okay player.
So, Noodles, I have to get this straight.
There's a gamble.
I have to get this straight. If Montreal, this is so stupid, by the way.
Yeah, it is stupid.
This is a hypothetical.
No, it's not stupid. Let's clarify something here. Sid was talking about Montreal. His agent came out and said, he might be open to a trade. It might happen. And Montreal is his favorite team. So it's not stupid to link him possibly to Montreal if he gets traded.
We're Joe from the bridging it. Like, that's what we're doing. But if Kyle said Demidov's got to be in the deal, you think Montreal walks? Or you would walk if you were Kent Hughes?
I'm not going to speak for Kent Hughes personally.
Okay, what do you do if Kyle told you Demidov's got to be in the deal?
You find a different package. I'm sorry. I think he might be their best player moving forward, Demidov. Again, I don't know.
Over Nick Suzuki?
I love Nick Suzuki. I think Lane Hudson's a star. I think they've got some great young players there. Caulfield, we're sleeping on Caulfield too.
Over Sid for the next 2 years? 2 or 3 years?
But again, 2 years.
Yes,
what are the Montreal Canadiens doing in the next 2 years?
I don't know. They took a big step this year.
Right.
I don't know, Noodles. I don't know. But here's my point is the rest of the league, and Montreal's a little bit different because they exceeded expectations last year. They had a phenomenal year. They had a phenomenal stretch run, to their credit. I didn't think they were capable of doing that. They did it. But I get this sense around hockey, there's this, paralysis of, well, we can't compete with Florida, so whatever. And, that's such a loser's mentality. And I'm not saying that's what you're applying here, but I'm picking up on that. Well, Florida's too good, so whatever. And that's that better not be the approach of a lot of these teams. And Montreal's a little bit different because they're a different part of the pecking order, but they didn't make the playoffs last year, right? Let's use Ottawa as an example. We're going to get crazy with hypotheticals. I don't even know who they don't have a Demidov equivalent necessarily, but would you get crazy if you're Ottawa to bring in Sid? You think they could win in the next 2 or 3 years?
What is crazy?
They're pretty strong up the middle of the ice, but.
Yeah, but that's what you're saying is if we were talking Hudson, that's Jake Sanderson territory, and I hang up the phone and you say no, sorry, Jake Sanderson's a stud, he's a superstar.
That's crazy. You're willing to hang up the phone on young stud players, man, for a legacy type guy. I know he's 38 years old. I know he is.
But here's my, I guess maybe I'm in the wrong, but here's my thought process in this. You look at it differently if you're Colorado. I don't think adding Sidney Crosby to Montreal, regardless of the cost, is the missing piece to put him for them to win the cup.
Okay, how much better is Colorado than Montreal? Better, clearly, with McKinnon and McCarr. Is their goaltending better?
I like Blackwood. Yeah,
He's better than Montembeault?
They're alike. Put it that way. 6'3", 6'4" goaltenders.
Right.
I like them.
I'm not down on Colorado. This isn't about evaluating Colorado. They're clearly better than probably 27, 28 other teams.
Right.
I'm just saying, I don't know if there's that big of a gap anymore for a lot of teams. San Jose's not doing this. Chicago's not doing. I could give you 10 teams where it doesn't make sense, and maybe Montreal's closer to them. Maybe Ottawa's still closer to them. But I would think there would be a group of 10 to 12 teams that would be screw it, man.
Well,
we're in here because we got a 2 or 3 year window, and how much more can you ask for in pro sports than a 2 or 3 year window?
You're right, and I'll let you weigh in. I just want to finish my thought here. Mm-hmm. This isn't a shot on Sidney Crosby.
Of course
I think
not.
it's just more. It's more about what your organization, what you feel like you would give up to. Keep in mind, Montreal, you just said they're building. They're getting to that next level. This is a team that's, I think really good and going to continue to get better. But if you're taking a young piece out of it, Sid's going to want to go there and play with those young guys. You're not going to want to have to give up some of those young guys for the cost of doing business. That's why I think it's, again, hypothetical. It's picks and prospects that aren't on the roster. That's where I would go. That's where my head
I'm
would
sure
go.
Everyone would rather go there, Noodles.
But you said
questioning
picks and
that. It's that how do you get the player?
Picks and prospects. There was a guy yesterday. It was it would be more like the Joshua Waugh types and stuff like that down in Laval. And I'm like, that's a total Toronto comment where they want to trade for, they just want to give up nothing. I don't know. It's just it's an interesting thing, how the trade talks would go.
It just, again, Sidney Crosby is Sidney Crosby. It's not moving a second line center anywhere. He's a top tier player, and you're right. Hey, he's still at 38. He is an impact guy. He's a name. He's all of that, and his pedigree comes with it. I don't know what that marketplace looks like. You're right. If Kyle can ask for the world because he's in the driver's seat, or Sidney Crosby. Now, what if Sidney Crosby, here's the other thing we haven't factored in. What if Sid just goes, I want to go to that team. Deal with that team. Because that's another scenario that we haven't thought into is there are, things that go on behind the scenes where Sidney Crosby, if he decides to move on, his he's going to be involved in the process.
He's going to control where he's going to go.
Exactly.
He's not going to wake up one day and be told you're playing somewhere, and that benefits the team he's going to because Pittsburgh's going to do right by Sid. If he says I want out and I'm going here, then they'll have 24 hours or whatever to work out a deal, and they'll get the best thing they can. But it clearly will benefit whoever is acquiring him, and it probably will not be as big of a package as EA Sports might indicate it would be in a hypothetical trade, and no one knows what the market is. But I think O hit on an important point that every fan base is guilty of, and Montreal is guilty of it right now.
Yeah,
we
want to get Sid, but you're going to take our worst prospects.
Yeah, and they're in a similar spot to where I'd use the Leafs as an example because we lived it and went through it. 7-8 years ago, if you said, well, Mitch Marner for whatever, maybe it was Sid at that point.
Legacy
probably not.
Player, but somebody
whatever.
like
You'd
that.
be like, no chance. Are you nuts? And now you look back on it, and maybe you'd think, actually, we should have done that.
But,
now, who knows how it was going to play out or how it was going to work out. But everyone overvalues their players and their prospects, especially early in the process, because they're nervous about getting too far out over their skis and expediting the process and ruining the whole journey that's going to be magical. And
let me just read you
maybe
this,
it will
guys.
be, maybe it won't be.
Let me just read you this, Jamie. To the Los Angeles Kings, Wayne Gretzky, Marty McSorley, Mike Krushelnyski. To the Oilers, Jimmy Carson, Marty Jelena.
I knew Marty was on that. I
Los Angeles first-round picks in 89, 91, 93. How about this? And $15 million cash.
There was cash involved for Bruce McNall. That was the other thing.
No,
Peter Pocklington.
Pocklington,
Bruce McNall paid $15 million to Pocklington.
Turns out it wasn't really his money, I don't think, either.
Yeah.
Consider the way things played out.
Let's not head down that road.
Okay. Allegedly.
But what I'm saying is, you look at it. Now, Jimmy Carson, was he a 60-goal scorer?
50-goal scorer for sure he was.
Right.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
he was 50 in his rookie year. I played with Jimmy in Hartford.
Yeah, he was a nice player. But again, it goes to Edmonton. He wasn't a 50-goal guy. They were like, hey, what's going on here? This is supposed to be our Gretzky replacement.
That's what's impossible. Gretzky was in his prime, and you're getting traded for him. Do you know how mortifying that would be to show up in Edmonton and start waving, and people are like, oh, you're the guy? It's your fault. Right? Oh, you're the guy that got us. You're the reason Gretzky got traded, so we can have you.
I just, you know what? I didn't know we were going to start the show with this.
I wasn't anticipating starting.
But I agree. I did
the Habs here.
Oh,
I get you had to get it off your chest.
Yeah.
It's been one of those weeks because I made my comment. I did it on our show, and I went on Jay to talk about Josh Allen. Just my opinion. I think he's the most entertaining athlete in sports today. People in Edmonton, I thought they were going to start knocking on my door. People walking from Edmonton, tracking me.
I was on board with that too.
I know you're McDavid first. McDavid would probably be second for me. Certainly in the top 3 or top 5. It's not a shot at him, but the amount of Oiler fans that are just on edge right now. If you don't pump the tires of 97.
Well, okay, so there's probably a reason why they're a little on edge.
I get
it. This isn't January you're talking about. Right now they're looking for the only announcement they're looking for is exactly what we've been discussing for a week and a half.
So take it up with him though. Don't blame me.
I agreed. Who did I say? I didn't say McDavid. I said it was Ohtani.
Yes, you did.
Pitching 97 and knocking him out of the park.
He is.
That's probably the unicorn of sports.
You're absolutely right.
That is Austin Matthews scoring goals but winning the Vezina.
Yes.
Winning the Hart and the Vezina. That's what Ohtani's doing.
That's what he's doing.
But that's I look at it. I knew you were going to at least get into the Montreal thing. It's topical. You're right, Hayes, to because it's linked. Sidney Crosby's agent said, "Hey, this is the first time we've even kind of talked publicly about him thinking about potentially moving from Pittsburgh." Maybe am I wrong on that?
No.
Anyway, let's get to the
record.
Jays. But those comments, they mean that that means he's going this year.
You think so?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I think you might be onto something.
You're not going to come out and make those comments and then stay in Pitt through another dreadful
Why
season.
not do it in the summer then? Why didn't he rip the Band-Aid off in July? Why not do it this year?
I don't know.
Well,
why not get in, get situated, get yourself a house? You know what I mean?
What about the
go
deadline
through camp.
last year?
Yeah, exactly.
The year before.
Exactly.
I still think it's a deadline move this year, and you can kind of now the excuse will be in place. If Kyle starts selling off assets and doing all of that, like I think going into last season, they believed that they still had a chance at the playoffs.
Which was delusional, but I hear you.
Fair enough, but I mean, I think that was the plan from Kyle. Couple years hard, bringing in players, all of that. That's why I signed a 7-year deal as a manager. The first 2, I'm going to go all in, and then the last 5, we're going to reset here.
Moved on from the coach. Out. They got a new coach.
Yeah, like that's what I believe or envision. So that looks like a deadline play to me, and you get 2 playoff runs with Sidney Crosby, who
I get it from that standpoint, and maybe the prices will be better for Pittsburgh at that point. I'm talking about Sid. Like I would think you'd want to get into camp, get to know everybody. If you're using the Brady equivalent, Brady, he was down in Tampa. He was there for mini camps. He was there day one. He was a part of the journey the whole ride. This will clearly be a different situation. Steve Phillips in 15 minutes will get to the Jays and the heroics of last night, and who was a hero and how it played out. It was an incredible game, incredible finish for the Jays. But because we're on hockey here, this Kirill Kaprizov story is starting to heat up a little bit with multiple reports out there that Kaprizov has turned down 8 years at $16 million per. And I believe the GMs are getting together, and Bill Guerin was asked about it. He said no comment, kind of not getting into it, which would suggest to me, if it was a fraudulent report, Bill would come out and say that's bogus, hasn't turned anything down, we're not getting into it publicly, but we're still all good. The fact that he kind of no commented things, that would suggest that this probably happened. That this guy turned down the largest contract in the history of the sport.
Awfully difficult for me not to walk away from the player or contemplate it if it's a no to that ask.
Right. Like what else do you think you're getting?
Yeah.
What can Kaprizov think he's getting?
Right. Like the owner a week ago said, we can have a historical contract on the, on the rise here with our player. And if it's presented and it's a no, I'd have a difficult time not saying, we're not going 1 penny higher. So what are we going to do here with this guy?
It's a long, like you're buying a lot of money or a lot of years from him in that. Like $16 million was be a massive deal.
Hasn't won squat, Jamie, and it's the highest contract in the history of the sport. And he says no. It's just that's a no for me.
But is winning like now you're just going okay? Well, so any player who hasn't won doesn't get paid anything.
Well, that's not. I don't think that's the point. It's more about how does he have that kind of leverage, Noodles? Is what I would suggest. Yes. Winning is one thing, but also we're talking he's never won a Hart. He's never won an Art Ross. He's never been up for the Hart. He's never been up for anything. Like he's a really good, talented player, a winger that is good, really good player, great player. But, he's not Draisaitl, McKinnon, McDavid, Matthews, Barkov. I could go on and on and on.
I think there was a time 2 years ago he was top 5 or top 10 in our TSN ranking? Like I think he's
might have been top
player.
10, but 16 sheets.
Listen, I'm not. Like, how am I defending somebody saying no to 16?
That's what I'm saying. I think it's more if this is true. If he turned that down, my radar would be going off that he's telling you he's out of Minnesota. Like I'm just not interested in playing in Minnesota anymore.
Bingo.
Unless it's just, I worry. I can't verify this. I worry that the agents get in these guys' ear and say, sign short term, you can take, 3-4 years at 16, and your next contract when the cap's at 120 is going to be something with a 2 in it.
Mm-hmm. Jamie, and who gives a 120?
Oh, I'm telling you, the difference between $4 and $8 million per year on an 8-year deal. We're talking another $30 million.
I know, but there's a lot of risk involved. You could get injured. For anyone to say no to 128 in the richest contract in the history of the game, I'm sorry. That just doesn't seem right to me. Where you're looking for a short term, and then it's got a Kawhi vibe to it, where it's like let's just do this deal, then maybe there's some more at the end of the rainbow. It's like come on, man.
I never had that. Oh, I sorry to interrupt. I never had that as a player. I wanted
Me neither.
I wanted, but the thing is a lot of these guys are like confident enough to bet on themselves to go. They're not looking at it like, hey, I'm putting 120 in my pocket. It's like somebody's got in their ear going, yeah, you can get 120 or you can have 160 or more.
Which is fine, but but if that's the case, then just tell the team that why waste your time with an 8-year offer if you're Minnesota if you know that.
Yeah.
That's where I would be frustrated. Where if that's your that's your right. Go ahead. If you want a 2-year deal, go ahead. But then say it's a 2-year deal. Like, why are you negotiating an 8-year deal and be like, no, not enough? Maybe he thinks he can get $17 million. Maybe he thinks they're so desperate it'll be 18. Like, it could be. But Minnesota's a market that has really struggled to have stars, to keep stars. I think Kaprizov knows that. He's a great player. That's not what we're saying. But Marner was a great player, and he signed an 8-year at $12 million. This guy's going to get $4 million more a year than Mitch.
That's the one thing that we are going to look back at of guys who've signed long-term deals. 3-4 years from now, you're going to go, that's a pretty damn good bargain.
That's the nature of it. You're right, Noodles. You're 100%. Here, I'll give you, forget Mitch. Look at Willie. Willie signed for 11, I think it is, and it was like, man, are you nuts? Like, Willie's at 11 million. Kaprizov's getting 17. He's not a $6 million more player than William Nylander.
16.
Sure. But I'm saying if he's turning down 16, I presume he thinks he can get more. But let's say it's 16. Let's say he accepts it. $5 million more than Willie? I don't think so. Yeah. And, that you look back on every deal, and that's the importance of getting out in front of it and locking these guys in. And then they have to pull their weight. Right? They got to play. They got to perform. They got to win.
And we talk about it all the time. Who's the next man up? And they're just leapfrogging each other. And it's been a long time since the prices have gone up in hockey. I was, in our group text, I was throwing out like things changed in basketball, things changed in, baseball, football, different sports, different, financial situations. But hockey's been pretty stagnant for years. And now you're seeing the step ladder kind of open up here a little bit. Like it'd be interesting. Like, I don't think McDavid's all about money. I think he's looking at, again, bring it back to McDavid. Like he's looking at all different factors. I don't know what Kaprizov's looking at. Is he looking at Bill Guerin and saying, go get this, go get that? Or is he just maxing out going, if I'm going to be in Minnesota, different market, believe me, I played there. I know the cities well. I know everything about that organization. But it's unique, right? And you talked about it. They haven't had a lot of superstars. They have Aaron Gabrick, who they drafted and developed. He was 18 when he joined the team. Like, they haven't had blue-chip guys. He's their guy. They have to – it's blank check for him.
Well, and that's what they've done. This is effectively a blank check. And if the report's accurate, he said, no, thank you. Like, there's no bigger blank check than 8 years, $16 million per. You know, it's just an outrageous contract offer if he's turned it down. All right, the Jays with a massive win last night. They got the it factor. We'll get into it. Steve Phillips coming up on Game 2 of the series. Barrios on the mound tonight. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.
Sunday, Week 2 in the NFL continues as the Dallas Cowboys face off against the New York Giants.
A Super Bowl rematch between the Eagles and Chiefs.
Plus, the Sunday Nighter between the Atlanta Falcons and Minnesota Vikings. Coverage starts at 1 p.m. Hear it all on TSN 1050. The NFL lives here.
Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
I told you long ago on the road, I got what they waiting for.
OverDrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. We're up on YouTube Live, streaming YouTube Live on TSN's YouTube channel every day, every hour of every show. Steve Phillips coming up here in a few minutes, night 2 of the Jays Astros tonight. And did not start well yesterday. Bieber, he got hit pretty hard in the first inning. And the
Second
Jays
game in a row, which
you're concerned about him a little bit?
No.
I think it's expected, man.
Yeah. Guy comes off Tommy John, and again, second game in a row, gets hit early, and what does he do? He adjusts and still gives you good stuff and good in innings and keeps the game alive and within reach. You know, and the bats, they were being no hit until Springer hit that home run.
Right.
And,
and he had some laugher opponents. Like he had Miami, and then he had, not since he's not really, but they wasn't strong. And then he got some kind of heater competition, and he's had a couple of poor outings. But he rebounds, like you said.
He rebounds.
Hangs in there.
And he hung in there last night and gave them an opportunity, and the bullpen did their job, which is a really important point. Right, we were hammering this bullpen for weeks, and they've solidified a little bit recently. But what I think stood out last night, and why I continue to gain confidence as to what this whole season represents and the ability for this team to hold on to the top seed in the AL East, is they have that it factor where it's a different guy playing a different role every night, and they find a way to succeed. And the fundamentals are on display every night. And I think last night, you look at the end of the game, the 9th inning and the 10th innings, perfect example of that. The $500 million guy, Vladdy Guerrero Jr., he makes an unbelievable defensive play in the 10th to get Altuve. And Altuve was kind of trotting over there. He didn't think he had the.
I didn't think that Altuve, man. Like,
He
he's
was
a
out
good
to
player.
lunch,
Well,
He was out to lunch.
no one
last
makes
night.
that throw. That's why he got cocky. It's like the standard play in baseball generally is take the out, give him third. It happens.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can keep him there. And Altuve was just out for a cruise, thinking there's no way he's going to come get me, and he did. And credit to Vladdy for making that play. It was an incredible throw.
Well, he was in cruise control for the defensive play as well.
Yes, when Vladdy ran him out at first, like Altuve,
Right.
I know he's got short legs. Like, he's got 2
Well, I don't
foot
know if
legs.
that's the reasoning for
Well,
laziness.
he's just
necessarily.
sauntering in there and just muffins one over to first. You had the look on his face. It's like I think he had money on the Jays or something. It was outrageous what he was doing. That Altuve was out, and he has 24 jacks. He's a hell of a player.
Oh, Altuve, like he got hit the
MVP,
hardest.
man.
He got
Yeah,
hit the
he's-
hardest probably with the sign stealing
Yeah.
stuff and all that. But Altuve's a Hall of Famer. He's
Great
an
player.
unbelievable player.
But he was just sauntering around last night. Like, I think the 2 biggest plays, it was all Vladdy, right? Vladdy runs out that first, that defensive play. Like, he was unbelievable.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like $500 million. Again, this is what you're expected to do, especially
Yeah.
when you're in a pennant race and you're winning and it's in September. It's a big game at home. Makes a defensive play and then chops one to second and runs it out last night. Like runs it out in the bottom of the 10th, which was huge. Like huge for him to do that. And you're right, Altuve, all right, let's see what we got. But, those are plays you would
Just
expect
sauntered in.
out of Kiner Falefa, right? Those are the
Yeah.
plays you would expect out of Isaiah Kiner Falefa. But Kiner Falefa played the role of Vladdy in the bottom of the ninth. So you
Yeah.
get the big hit from the guy coming off the bench, making nothing, who they just picked up off the waiver wire. And the $500 million guy's running it out as if his life was on the line. And that's a sign of a team that's got some mojo, man.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
everyone's all in. Whatever I have to do to help this team win. And I think that's exactly what was on display last night. $500 million guy off the waiver wire. Heineman hits the game-winning hit. Like who saw that coming?
They do have something special there. You can see, like, 3-0, 3-1. They're not out of the game. You just felt like something coming, and it was big play after big play, and then they get it done. Once it went to extra innings, I'm like, they're winning.
Yes.
That was it.
You could feel it, and that's another sign of it. Again, it's an intangible. There's no science behind it. But
Yeah.
in 2025, the Jays don't lose that game. If they
Right.
battle back, they find a way to win it, and that's exactly what happened last night. Here's Steve Phillips, our TSN baseball insider. How would you describe that win last night by the Blue Jays?
I think definitely one of the biggest wins of the season. But I got to tell you, listening to you guys, like I'm so proud of you guys. Like
Thank
you
you.
used to accuse me of being poly positive all the time, and now you guys are like you sound like you actually like it and believe in them, and that you're all in on the Blue Jays right now. Like
All
I
in.
can't
Can you not
believe-
be,
I'm so
Steve?
proud of you
All
guys.
in, Steve. All in.
I am so
Yeah.
proud of you guys.
Thank
So,
you.
I think that it was a huge win. On the day the Yankees lose, too, and in really like a bloody manner. I mean, that was horrible what happened to the Yankees. 9 runs in the 7th inning. They had 2 relievers that didn't get a recording out, and 9 consecutive batters reached base, and it sort of blew up on them. And then the Blue Jays rally back like they did. It was, having been no hit for the first 5 innings of the game, 5 1/3, and not a surprise, right? That Springer sort of breaks the ice and gets them going. He's been the leader all year, as sort of that energetic guy for them, and so it was a big win. Now, now it's the point where you can't give it back, right? So today can't be, well, we're going to have a clunker today. We're going to give back the dramatic win we got yesterday. Go out and add on to this one and keep building. But I heard you talking about, kind of Falefa coming through, Vladdy, and how about the play Vladdy throwing out the runner at third base?
Unreal.
How
in the 10th
high on
inning?
the IQ chart is that play, Steve? That's what I was going to ask you.
And what he said was that on the foul ball before that, he saw Altuve running, and he saw that he looked slow, and so he signaled over to third. If it's to me, I'm coming to you. That is a huge play. I mean, that's a Don Mattingly, Keith Hernandez type play from back in the day. Those slick fielding first baseman, Mattingly sitting on the bench watching that, had to be proud. But the wiping out of the energy for the Astros when that runner in extra inning gets thrown out at third base, and it is a dramatic turn of emotions. And so, the Jays have a lot going in the right direction, and everybody seemingly contributing to it.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like, you look at it last night, Vladdy obviously made great plays in the 10th inning, defensively and offensively, but it's Kiner-Falefa who gets the big hit in the ninth. Who cashes the winning run? Miles Straw, right? And Heineman's the one that brings him home. Like, this is not Vladdy, Bichette, Springer, Kirk. Like, Schneider was deep into his bench last night, and I'm curious how you feel about the manager and the way that, he's trying to work things out here because Bichette's not available to him. They're playing these kind of high-intensity, emotional games every single night, and he was working it last night, John Schneider.
He was after the game. After the first question he got asked, he said, "I need a beer." That was so funny in the interview, like so real. Getting no hit for the first 5 innings and shut out, and then being able to sort of rally back, and then the 10th inning, he did a good job. There's no question. He did a nice job using the bench, using the guys that he has available to him. But I give a lot of credit to the players too, that they put their performances led to his trust in key situations. And I got to tell you, the Kiner-Falefa claim, when it happened, I thought, where's he going to fit? But now with Bichette down and adding the depth to the middle infield and what he can do, and look, he's not a great hitter, but he gives you a professional at bat. And able to put the ball in play and battle. Did a really great job. And for Heineman, remember, he came in and pinch ran for Kirk. Now he's the second slowest guy on the team, but he's faster than Kirk, so he was the appropriate pinch runner there. And then he comes up in that at bat to get the fielder's choice to get the run in to win the game. It really, a lot came together. But that's one at the end of the year. You go back and circle, and you look back on and think that was a key win for our success and potentially winning the division. So,
Steve, you came on saying, okay, the three of us have got our pom-poms out cheering. We're talking pretty positive, and rightfully so. This is we're in the driver's seat, I'll use that, in Toronto. But any concerns at all, these last 18 games? Is there anything you'd like to see sharpen up? Is it just the health of Bo? Is there something else that you have maybe as a manager a little concern down the stretch here?
Yeah, so I think a couple things. One, obviously, Bichette's knee. That's going to be critical. Because he came back in and played after he had the collision at the plate and his shin sort of dinged up, I don't think it's going to be anything significant. But you put him on the injured list, and those are 10 games without your best hitter. And so, I think it's something to be concerned about. I do think Scherzer's back is a bit of an issue. This is something that in past years, late in the season, he gets these spasms that start up in the upper back, work their way down, and he's going through it a little bit. Now, they do have Derek Lauer, they can put in the rotation if they need to protect Scherzer with it. But I think more than anything, it's the rhythm of the bullpen. Can they get the level of confidence and consistency out of the bullpen? I looked at it. Jeff Hoffman is 9-6 this year. You generally don't want your closer with a lot of losses, but you also don't want him with a lot of wins, because it generally means that, maybe you gave it up and he got through the inning and he came back and scored. But, it was good yesterday, and they need to get him stabilized. They need the rest of the bullpen stabilized as well, that they know where they're going, when they're going to them, and really start to get some rhythm and confidence there, because that is going to be their undoing in the playoffs. If they don't advance, it'll be because of the bullpen. It won't be defense. It won't be that they won't have quality at bats. They put the ball in play. They're tough to strike out. It's going to come down to, can the bullpen hold the lead or hold the deficit to allow them to rally and come back with their good offense?
With Steve Phillips, Barrios on the mound tonight, I'd add that into the conversation over the final 18 games. Likely 3 or 4 more starts, and he has really been struggling. But he's a guy that has shown, obviously, he's a veteran. He's a guy that's available every single 5 days. Every start, he's always healthy. And they're going to continue to trot him out, especially with what you said about Scherzer. What about Bieber? We were talking about him. He got hit early again last night, but he settled in. That's a couple starts in a row. He's been hit pretty hard in, specific innings. I think it was the second inning, his last out, his first inning last night. But then, he still gave them a fair amount of production. Is that a good sign, bad sign? Where do you stand on Bieber?
Yeah, I think he's going to get better over the next several starts. I think that part of what he's going through is, a little dead arm and, a little bit of, fatigue of taking the ball every fifth day, that he'll work through and get a second win. He just isn't, this is sort of his spring training, getting through that, getting ready to start the season, where sometimes guys, have these innings or so. But because he's such a pro, that even if it gets away from him for an inning, he gets on track. He gets his feel in, and he'll figure out warming up. Maybe he's got to get a better feel for his breaking balls. That I think that's been a bit of the issue, where he didn't have his curveball or his sweeper or slider early in the start, but he got a feel for it as the game went on. So maybe in warm-ups he'll find something to tweak that to get a little different feel for it. But if that's one of their problems, they're in a really good place, right?
Yeah.
Really good place. I mean, I'll take 5 in 2/3 innings and giving up 3 runs and giving yourself a chance to win with the offense that they have.
Steve, how would you characterize Schneider's kind of year? Do you think just winning, like if the team's winning, you say the skip has grown and he's matured and he's showing signs of being a great skip, or like just little things like Buck pointed out, a guy gets called up and he puts him right in the game. Just the way he's managed all the players and what he's done in there. How would you grade that?
Yeah, I think he's done a nice job. I mean, listen, I know they're in first place. They have the best record in the American League, but it's not been easy.
No.
I mean, they have faced adversity, and early in the season it felt dire, and I think that it does take a steady hand to try to keep everybody going through that, just to get on track and not to panic. And look, I think that he showed some maturity, because if anybody might have panicked, it might have been him, because if it didn't get turned around early, he might have been out, right? They might have had to make a move just to see if they could salvage the season in some way. And so the fact that he's been able to navigate that and get to a really good place and get the team to this point, and then using all the different role players and how he sets up his lineup and who he plays on a given day, he has put guys in a place to succeed. That's what a manager, you want him to do, is line guys up, put them in a place to succeed. Now, the bullpen is also his responsibility, and that has been, at times a little bit hit and miss. Some of that goes on the manager. Obviously, most of it goes on the pitchers themselves. But I think overall, he's done a really positive and really good job managing the club.
Jays Astros tonight, Yankees in action. The Sox won last night. 18 games to go. It's going to be a grind, but man, it's fun having intense, meaningful baseball in September. Enjoy it tonight, Steve. We'll do it again soon.
Okay, guys. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Steve Phillips, our TSN baseball insider. Jose Barrios, man, he could redeem himself tonight. He's been struggling lately. He hasn't had the greatest year, but that park it's going to be packed. I mean, there's 40,000 people in there every single night. Just
what do you expect out of that guy? When's the last time he pitched? Was it? It was.
Well, he
in
pitched
Cincy.
last time out. Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
Like he gets rocked. That was the game that was crazy. That finished 15-12 or whatever
and he
it was.
couldn't
12-9
find
or...
the plate with it was outrageous.
Yeah, his numbers are really they're really bad. He's in a really dark place, but. You trust a veteran. You hope he can make an adjustment. You hope he can give you 5 or 6 innings tonight. And if you can do that, we've reached a point in the season here with every win being so meaningful and them racing towards a pennant here. No one cares about what you did in May, June, July, August. What are you going to do in September? This is what is really going to be remembered. And if you have a great outing and a positive one and you walk off the mound with a lead and the team gets a win tonight and they find a way to win this series, then Barrios will be a hero. It's really not difficult to do right now. But conversely, the other side of it, you blow up and get booed off the mound, it's going to be pretty loud. So he's aware of that. I think people in the stadium are aware of that. But big one for the Jays last night, and the Yankees got pumped. So they're 3 games up on the Yankees, 3 games up on Boston. And
big swing.
Yeah, you can see it here on FanDuel. Jays minus 300 to win the AL East. So driver's seat. In the driver's seat.
There it is. That big driver's seat games last night, right?
Yeah.
One big swing, right? They win, Yankees lose. That's a big driver's seat.
Maybe that's our tagline: get in the driver's seat and take a peek.
Yes, I like that. Get in the driver's seat, take a peek. All right, that's a late submission, man. Late submission. I like that for the tagline. We're still looking for help. You can text us, email us, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, whatever it is. Looking for a new tagline for the show. All right, Struddy coming up. Haven't caught up with the big man in a while. Jason Strudwick in 15 minutes. Role play level of concern in about 45 minutes. We're streaming live on YouTube Live on TSN's YouTube channel. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050.
Sunday, week 2 in the NFL continues as the Dallas Cowboys face off against the New York Giants.
A Super Bowl rematch between the Eagles and Chiefs.
Plus, the Sunday nighter between the Atlanta Falcons and Minnesota Vikings. Coverage starts at 1 p.m. Hear it all on TSN 1050. The NFL lives here.
Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, Jason Strudwick in about 15 minutes. Role play level of concern coming up. Or one of us will play the role of Austin Matthews. I believe he's been doing the kind of media tours, and I saw our boy Jonas caught up with Craig Berube. He had an article in The Athletic about, the plan for Matthews, and he indicated he's put on more weight, that maybe they thought he was too lean last year, and that was a part of the issue with injuries. And but I like that idea. You got to change something up, and by all accounts, he's telling people it feels good, ready to go. And I guess that'll be the story of camp, and that'll be the first thing everyone's going to pay attention to.
Well, the next thing they're going to pay attention to is how many goals he has after 10 games.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and who he's playing with,
yeah,
and what type of chemistry he's got with a new line mate, because he's guaranteed a new line mate. Even if they put Willie there, that's technically him and Willie didn't play a ton together. You could probably guarantee it's going to be Nyes Matthews as a tandem, and then you're going to plug Michelli or Domi or, who knows, Easton Cowan has a great – it isn't that sexy of a training camp right now, but there is a few spots that are up for grabs, or at least, moving players around the lineup. And I think
so.
Who plays with those two, I think, is a big story.
I think it's going to be the most unique feeling training camp they've had in a long time. Now, last year felt that way to an extent because Berube was here, so different sound, right? Berube was talking every day at a different approach than Sheldon Keefe. But the fact that Marner's gone, all right, there you go.
Yeah.
I used his name. I said it first today. Done. Marner's been said. It's over.
That's right.
The fact that he's gone immediately, addition by subtraction, leads to a big conversation because of the hole that now has to be filled. But also, we're talking about Matthews coming off, statistically the worst season of his career, where he didn't have great numbers. At no point was he like a dominant force like you would expect him to be. And Berube mentioned in the article that he had a lot of chances last year. Defensively, he was great. He was killing penalties for the first time in his career. He's transitioning. He had a different role to play in some areas last year. So I'm not sure what to make of, the goal scoring expectation with him, because since he walked into the league, it's been this guy's going to win rocket after rocket after rocket. I know he's still capable of doing it when he's healthy, but are we still, is the aim 50 plus? Do the goalposts move with Austin Matthews this year in terms of goal scoring?
It's all going to come down to his health and how he looks. I mean, if he looks healthy, it's not like he's, getting that old, or maybe he's slowing down a tiny bit. Maybe he's not as fresh as he was when he first came in the league. But you would think with that guy fully healthy, the way he handles the puck and the way he shoots the puck, 50 goals should be kind of looked at now.
Mm-hmm. I think so. There's no reason why he shouldn't be a 50-goal scorer. He's an elite goal scorer. He's an elite shooter. Yes, different chemistry with a new line mate, but again, if he doesn't get it, it's not the end of the world. It's his whole body of work, but he's a goal scorer. Goal scorer's goal, and that's what I'm sure he has a personal, goal that he's looking for this season, and it probably starts with a 5 in it, maybe a 6. That's
what I'm hoping.
That's what
for.
You set your sights on.
Yeah, that's what you set your sights on. Yeah. Absolutely, because Berube did indicate that when speaking of, Marner not being here, that, and I do think this is being overlooked because we're talking about Michelli and Domi and, could Cowan play, or do they go out and sign Jack Roslovic, who's still available?
Right.
Really what they need, the biggest change will be 34 returning to, the king of goal scoring status. That's the biggest thing that can change. His over-under, I guess, on FanDuel is 43.5 goals.
I'd go above that.
I would too. And 2 years ago, that would be considered an insult.
Slight.
Yeah. Like that would be free money.
It's kind of a good number, though. I know you guys think it should be over, but it's kind of appropriate.
Yeah, it's a lot of goals.
Yeah.
Like he scores 42, 43 goals. That's a lot of goals. I think it's, the prop on how many games he plays is equally as fascinating for me. Like if I gave you 71.5 games played this year, would you take the over or the under?
That's a good number, too. 71.5?
Mm-hmm.
He'll be 28.
I got to take the over, man.
Yeah, I'd take the over.
All
I
right.
mean,
I
wouldn't
hope
you think
he
he would
better
get
play
it?
over that.
Wouldn't you think he'd get himself in a situation where he's going into the season where it's like nothing's going to pop up?
He didn't have
we don't
surgery.
know. We don't know the nature
No one knows
of
what the hell this
struggling
guy's
with.
dealing with. Exactly.
Because it literally every time he's asked, he just doesn't talk about it. Like it's his body, he doesn't want to talk about, which is fair, but we don't know the nature of if it's a chronic thing, if it's something that can just heal with time, or if it's something he has to live with or play with the rest of his career. We don't know. Not doctors, and we don't
I think
know
we're
the
going to
problem.
find that answer out, though, this year, right, Noodles? Like,
Think
if it's
so?
chronic and if something flares up again this year and he's back to Germany or whatever, then that's brace for it. Like, it's he's in a different stage of his career, which happens for some guys. It's happened for great players. Like, guys that just couldn't be expected to play every night. Play 60 games, could play 60, 65, and as long as you're available for the playoffs and near 100% or at 100%, then it's all good. But we're going to find out that answer this year.
Yeah.
If last year was a one-off, if he has fully recovered and there's nothing to worry about.
Yes.
If there's pockets in the season where he's gone and he's struggling and he looks slow or something, that's going to be a very different story this year compared to last.
Comes down to health. He scored 41, then 60, then 40, then 69, then 33. Let's see what he comes back with.
All right. Total's 43.5. Jason Strudwick coming up on McDavid, Matthews, Marner down in Vegas, Kirill Kaprizov.
He owes me an apology, too.
And he owes Noodles apology.
Yeah.
So we'll get that apology out of him and Roleplay level of concern coming up as well. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.
This is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Hour 2 OverDrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Brian Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan, Roleplay level of concern in about a half an hour. Best bets coming up later in the hour. Jays Astros tonight. Dome open kind of night. Dome open kind of night. And I love it. Beautiful weather here in Toronto. Beautiful night for a ball game. Meaningful games. Every at-bat counts for something. Every pitch matters. We got Barrios on the mound for the Jays.
Driver's seat.
Jays are in the driver's seat. Can't beat it. Leafs are in town soon. You get the Ryder Cup coming up. You've got the NFL. Week 2, and people are freaking out around the NFL, right, about different things. Well, the big game this week is Chiefs-Eagles. If Kansas City loses that, they go 0-2. We know the history of teams that start the year 0-2.
At KC?
In Kansas City, yeah. What's Detroit going to do? I saw news last hour. Brock Purdy's injured. He could be out for a while. Unlikely to play this week. Yeah. They kind of survived in Seattle. What happens there? Bears fans are freaking out that Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson don't know what the hell they're doing. It's just constant. It doesn't take long for half the league to be miserable because there's 16 teams that won, 16 that lost. The 16 that won, it's the greatest. Right? In Indianapolis, they're like, Danny Dimes. That's our guy, man. I always believed in him. Always loved Dimes.
Did I read that a kicker got, let go already? I'm trying to was it San Fran?
Jake Moody. Yeah, Moody got cut,
waived.
I believe.
Yeah, that's
Moody,
what it was.
Moody, he was trending pretty quickly, during the game and after the game.
Yeah.
Does not take long for a kicker to get cut.
One game.
But here's the thing. There are people concerned in Buffalo for Bass, who's on the IR, because of, Matt Prater coming out and kicking the way that he kicked. that maybe Bass, even when he returns from injury, they're going to just shake his hand and say, thanks for everything. We're going to keep this guy.
Really?
So you can lose your job quickly in pro sports, man. You might get Wally pipped.
Gig, man. It's a
Jeez.
tough gig. Like, for that one guy to come in, though, the way he did, and then the other guy to just say, you're done, that's tough, man.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Wally Pip, right? Wally Pip.
I know, but, like, you should be able to at least have an opportunity to get back in there.
You're only keeping one kicker, though. Like, you don't have multiple kickers on your roster, so you're going to have to make a choice. And listen, Prater may, doink a few this week, and all of a sudden people in Buffalo change their mind on him. But anyway, more on that with role play level of concern coming up. Struddy will join us in just a moment. You see, Mark Carney was talking about McDavid today. He was doing, some speech about the economy, and he actually made a pretty good joke. Like, he did kind of drop it in there about where we are as a country and where the economy's going, and McDavid's not signed yet. It actually landed pretty well. Most politicians are horrible when they try to bring the sports stuff into it. They mispronounce a name, or it just sounds so unnatural. Carney actually nailed this one, so credit to him. But it's still an ongoing story. I guess it's quieted down for a couple of days, but we'll see what Struddy has to say about it.
Until training camp, until next week. until he shows up and it's captain skates right now, but once they get into training camp and get into games and all of that, like, I'm sorry, you've put yourself in a position to be asked and to be talked about daily.
Do you think he's getting catcalled in Edmonton?
No.
You think he's walking into a convenience store and the guy saying, hey, what the hell's going on here?
I think
people are probably asking him something. They're curious, man. A guy of that magnitude.
I don't think it's, every second it's like, hey, you're going to sign, I think there's, for the most part, Struddy would be able to. Struddy lives there. But, the people I talk to there is like, we still believe he's going to sign there. We still have him for a year, maybe more. Let's see what happens. Like, I think you basically have to deal with what's in front of you. You have no control. Like, if you're a fan of the Oilers or a fan of that team, like that, you have no control. He controls the situation.
Okay, let me ask you this. Yep. Put this into perspective for me as an Edmontonian yourself, and Struddy can do this as well because he's a modern Edmontonian where you're an expat.
Yes, I'm an ex.
Can if he leaves, where is it on the Gretzky scale? Like, where does it rank in terms of, you mentioned your aunt was crying in the kitchen when Gretzky got traded. And
no, my mom.
Or your mom was crying.
My mom and her best friend, Donna McMartin, were cooking pierogies, and they were crying. I'll never forget it. They were like, Gretzky got traded, called me.
Okay, where is this?
Okay,
he's different. The social media jacks it up like a zillion.
And the other thing, too, is Gretzky didn't he didn't leave. Gretzky didn't put his hand up and say, trade me. He was sold by Peter Pocklington.
He was okay with it, clearly.
Obviously, but I don't think it came out I don't think it was a situation where he, leaned over and said, get me out of here type of thing. I think that was, he was traded. That's a different scenario where, McDavid is choosing his own destiny, and he has the right to do it. He's been there 10 years. I still have always believed he wants to win there, and all bets are off. Maybe he's saying, I'm giving myself 1 year to win there, and if I win, I'm out. If I don't, I'll sign a short extension until I do. I don't know. But I've always believed that him and Draisaitl want to win there, and then everything else is on the table.
Which would be the ideal way to put a bow on it if it gets to that point. If he wins and leaves, which would be a complicated finish as well. There's like a Kawhi element to that. It's very rare does a superstar win and then say, I'm leaving. Usually once you've won, all you want to do is stay and continue to win.
Double down and try and
absolutely. It's intoxicating, to win. But that I don't know. I don't have I don't remember, the Gretzky feeling in '88 or whatever when he got dealt.
Well, again, O was bang on. Social media wasn't around, right? You just had people calling you and stuff saying what's going on. I think there's a lot of things people in Edmonton remember certain things. They remember Gretzky getting traded. They remember the goal going off of Fierzy's leg. Steve Smith, banking. People remember where they were when that went down.
Which is crazy because they won 5 cups over that run, and they remember the one fumble, which was a massive one.
Right, but
massive fumble.
People still talk about around here.
Yeah,
Toskala getting scored on 185 feet away.
Right, but that was during the regular season in a meaningless game. I don't even remember who it was against. I think the Islanders. Yeah, I think it was the Islanders. You weren't on that team, were you? No, you were gone by that.
I was gone from the Islanders, but I was in the league.
I meant, I wasn't.
Yeah,
did you
I
play
was
with
gone.
Tosco?
I remember watching it on the couch. It was like, I can't believe that went in.
Okay.
That was one of the worst bounces I've ever seen.
It was an unlucky regular season bounce. Listen, the Vesetoskala era, that was a Fergie. Fergie acquired him. I'm fairly certain of that.
Yeah.
That he went out there and, I cannot confirm or deny that we just picked up Vesetoskala. But it didn't work. It wasn't a good run. It was the beginning of the end. It was the end of the Sundin era and all that kind of stuff. It got weird there.
He was a good
goalie.
For a while. It is weird. We had him in Calgary. It was Toskala and Kaprizov. They were best buddies, and we brought him in from either San Jose or I can't remember where we brought him.
The Leafs got him from San Jose.
Right.
That's where they acquired him from. Yeah. I think they gave up a first. I want to say the pick turned into Logan Couture. I can't remember exactly. Might be wrong on that.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a pretty good player.
I think it was a pretty good player. Yeah, it turned
Let's
into
not
a
head down
player.
that, what did the picks turn into?
It may not have been, but I don't know why I have this
Logan
connection to
Couture
that.
around your
Yeah,
mind.
I have like a connection to that pick, or San Jose flipped the pick they got from the Leafs to move up to take him, or something like that. But that one stung. That one stung. But it happens.
You're right. It comes back to moments where you're like, where were you when this? I remember, again, regular season or whatever, watching that Leaf game, David Ayres skates on the ice.
Oh, dude,
like
that's a completely different ball game.
That's a whole new animal.
These are regular season, weird night. That was, in November? I don't even remember, I don't remember the month. I just remember.
I think I was up in Collingwood actually for that. I want to say that was in February or something. I'd have to we'd have to go back and look at that. It was, but I think it was a Saturday night game, which made it crazier. I could be wrong on that.
Yeah.
But it was it might have been a hockey night game.
It might have been it was outrageous because when that all went down, I remember Dave Poulin, our colleague. Now,
he was working at TSN at the time.
But, messaging me going, the Leafs are going to win 31-0 or 31-1 or whatever. And then somebody scored. Was it Pierre Engvall scored?
Yeah, Engvall scored.
What's the
end of the second period? They were losing 4-1.
Yes.
I remember the way the game played out. They were getting pumped, and then both goalies went out. I think it was Reimer was the first one for Carolina.
That's
the second one was another former Leaf.
Wasn't it Mrazek?
I think it might have been Mrazek. Yeah, I think it was Reimer Mrazek. And then Ayres came in, and it was 4-2 maybe at that point, and Engvall scored a brutal flip shot, and it was 4-3, and he thought, all right, they're going to win 15-4.
Yes.
And they ended up losing 6-3, I believe, or 6-4.
Didn't they only get one?
They
I remember
barely got any shots.
Zach Hyman had a wrist shot from the blue line right at the end of the game.
And to the credit of David Ayres, he made a couple fundamentally strong plays, and Carolina, they were They did their thing.
When the one went in, I said he's going to purposely let in 10 goals, and this is going to be laughable.
Yeah,
that's what I said.
I don't think he was purposely going to do it, but it just was naturally.
No, he's just going to be it's those are my guys, and there you go. Here's one for you, Oprah style. One for you, one for you.
Well, at the end of the second, do you remember all the Leafs were tapping him on the pads and high-fiving him and stuff like that because they skated with him it was kind of yuck it up. I just remember the look on Rod Brindamore's face when David Ayres skated out. He's we're trying to win games here.
Mortified.
That's what. And you were right, Hayes. Saturday, February 22nd.
That's why I say I remember where you were when. I was at Blue Mountain. I was up there for a charity event, 24-hour Blue, shout out. Unbelievable ski event up at Blue Mountain every single year. I'm there every year doing the emceeing stuff. Yeah. And I was in the room watching it, and I was just in awe. I was in my room by myself. My wife and kids didn't come up that first year. I'm in a room above the Starbucks in the village watching it I can't believe this is happening. And texting people, I remember calling my dad saying, can you believe this? We're talking on the phone, be the Zamboni guy is going to beat the Leafs. The Leafs are going to lose tonight. And you could feel it by the third period when they were struggling and Carolina locked it down. You were they're losing. There's no way the Leafs are finding a way to win this game.
See, this is, you know what? You want to talk about CBA stuff? That's the type of stuff. There should be a third goalie allowed on the roster.
But then we missed that story, though, Noodles. I agree with you.
Really?
In terms of
Okay,
the sensibility. You're 100% right.
Right.
The thing is, the Leafs, it didn't matter who they brought in. The Leafs weren't winning. Like, the Leafs were not going to beat Carolina because Carolina, they shut everything down. They defended incredibly well. And the Leafs, basically thought this will be a laugher and we'll go out there and crush these guys. Yeah. And it didn't happen. But imagine if we didn't have that story. Like, I couldn't wait to get on the air on Monday. That show was like, get us on the air to talk about this disaster. You talk about carving a team. Man, was that ugly.
That was ugly.
That was ugly. All right, role play coming up in about 15. Struddy, what are you, chasing Connor McDavid out there, trying to get an answer from him? What's going on here, Struddy?
Trying to get scoops for you guys. Sorry. I thought I saw him at Max, at 7-Eleven, and he wasn't there. There's somebody else. So.
Well,
sorry, I'm late.
We were asking Struddy, so the guys asked me, do you think McDavid, if he is at the 7-Eleven or if somebody sees him somewhere, the grocery store, like, are people asking him daily, like, what the hell is he doing? You think?
I know what? I don't know. I think it'd be pretty bold. Maybe a closer friend. But, I mean, if you just see someone if you see Connor McDavid or Austin Matthews, are you asking about that or are you asking for a selfie? Because he's not going to tell you what the contract anyway. So I'd probably ask for a selfie, wouldn't you? An autograph?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, an autograph and then maybe hey, can you sign here, initial here, and then send that to the Oilers?
DocuSign?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. DocuSign.
I mean, when is he going to cut off Struddy? When is he going to cut off the asking of the question about the contract? Like, he's got to get to a point where he's like, I'm not answering this anymore because he's done it 2 or 3 times thus far.
Yeah, I love the way he's handled it so far. I think he's front-loading it. I think he's trying to get all the questions out and give all the different, sides and angles and people a chance to get their questions in. Then after that, I think, I'd say after the first day of training camp, he's going to say, okay, unless there's something new to report, I'm not talking about it. The problem with that is when you go to Toronto or you go to, New York or Montreal, like there'll be questions asked, right? The local reporters there will want to get in, their shots and try to get some scoops. But I honestly think that's what he's doing, and he's trying to be honest. Like there's, in the one interview he had, he talked about trying to find the right deal for himself, his family, and the team. I mean, there's going to be a deal, but it's not simple. It's not as easy. People say he deserves a max 20%. Yeah, he does. But, that kind of handicaps what a team, or in this case, Oilers can do. But why should he have to take a hometown discount, right? I don't see other guys taking hometown discounts. McKinnon or, even when Tavares came to Toronto, he didn't take a discount. So why should this guy take a discount? So it's really complicated. And, trying to predict what the Oilers are going to be like, or any team, in 3 to 5 years, that's a pretty hard thing to do. So I feel for him. I did think after Leon signed that he would have signed the exact same contract, maybe 7 years or 8 years, whatever. But, who knows? But I do think ultimately it gets done, and then you move forward with what you got.
All right. Answer this hypothetical, because we've been big on hypotheticals today. I posed a question to Noodles. Now, Noodles is an expat Edmontonian, right?
Yeah.
But when Gretzky got traded, Darlene McLennan and the whole crew were crying in the kitchen, and everyone was freaking out in Edmonton. If he's leaving, where does this rank? Where will this rank in Edmonton on the Gretzky scale of shock, disappointment, tears in the kitchen? How close is it to Gretzky?
I was cleaning out my mom's Aerostar van, and that's what I was doing. I heard it on the radio, and I couldn't believe it. I was crying. I was 13 years old. I was just shocked and sad. But I think this is all for naught. I mean, I think he's signing. I'll be floored if he didn't. But if I had to rank, I'd say Gretzky'd still be number one. Then probably, Stalock leaving the Oilers when no one wanted him anymore was probably number 2.
Right.
Or maybe people were happy. There was a celebration.
Yeah, those are tears of joy. You were misconstruing.
We got a chance. Now.
We're alive.
No, but in all honesty, I don't see this being an issue.
Okay.
I think the deal gets done, and I think that I just think it's really complicated. It's not as easy as, just signing the contract. I think he's trying to figure out a lot of things. And, again, you're GM trying to explain Can you imagine sitting down with the best player? Let's say it's Austin Matthews, saying, what are you going to do in 4 years? Well, we're going to try to get this guy. Well, no, you can't say that. Or we're going to try to draft this guy. No, we can't say that. Like, what do you? So it's more like a theory of what we're going to look to build and what we want. But I can't give you specific names. It's not like buying stocks on the TSX like you guys wheel and deal daily.
Strud, Noodles seems to like what's come in, the different changes that have been made in Edmonton. Like, what are your thoughts on it? Like, if that's something that McDavid would be viewing, obviously, to see what the new look Oilers would look like.
Well, I was down there the first day he spoke, and he talked about some young players and, saying it's hard to come in and become an impact player your first year. And it is. Let's look at a recent guy, Connor Bedard. And now he did have injuries first year, but a really highly touted guy now on a much weaker team for sure, and all eyes are on him, so a little bit different. But it's not easy to come in and become that guy, and this is the guy that was really highly touted. So Ike Howard, not as touted, obviously, but still, a good young prospect. Same with Matt Savoy. But the Oilers need these guys. Like if you're Connor McDavid, you need these two guys to come in. My concern is that they're maybe a little bit smaller. You look at some of the changes. Vander Kane, although they didn't have him all year last year. He's a smaller guy, but he's still got Podkolzin, who I expect would have a better finish this year. I'd like to think he'd get 15 to 20 goals. Perry out. I mean, he did everything for the Oilers, and who's replacing that? You get Trent Frederick now in a way better contract. A longer contract, but he's healthy. So is he going to be a different player? I suspect he will be than what the Oilers fans saw this year. So I think the D-men are better now than they were this time last year. And then, Noodles can speak to it better, but I honestly think a goalie coach, it's a worthwhile try to change things up. This guy, I don't think changed your technique as much as your approach, the way you think. And Dustin Schwartz had him for a long time and gone to a certain point. I wonder if this guy can't come in and maybe change things up and just a different approach, because I think it's different than a skating coach. Skating coaches teach you how to skate and become quicker. I think Noodles, you can correct me, I think there's an approach-guided way of this guy bringing in for a goalie coach to work with a young guy.
There is, but I had several goalie coaches, and you still said that I had a lazy glove. So, I mean, at some point...
Coach can only do so much.
Exactly. Like, at some point, you're like, all right, like, I do believe there's lots of things that a goalie coach can do, but ultimately the player has to play better and turn the corner. I think that's the thing.
Okay.
And I look at that tandem. I almost feel like Pickard might be the guy that is a casualty out of all this, and he did nothing wrong at $1 million and had 22 wins and won 7 games in the playoffs. But they've drafted and developed Skinner. They might bring in somebody either off waivers or 20 games in to challenge him. You look at this group as at a whole, like I look more at Edmonton, the health of RNH, Hyman. Like they didn't have great seasons last year. That's where I look at some of their players. Like McDavid was up and down, injury, all of that type of stuff. Like Draisaitl was their best player. That's the one thing that we always kind of look past is Draisaitl was arguably up for the Hart. I mean, he was a runner-up, right?
Yeah,
but I mean, I'm saying, but it could have been Draisaitl every day of the week as well. So I think there's a lot that factors into all of this. They're a good team. Yes, they've got some new blood, but I also think they might be like a couple other teams kind of waiting in the wings to see if there's some other players kicking around 20 games into the season to get a little bit better, a little bit older, a little bit stronger type of thing.
Well,
yeah, I think that all makes sense for sure. You've seen them do that upgrade every year, right? But I like the point, the challenge is they don't have that much to trade away. You're trying to you look at their coffers as far as young players, and there's not a ton. The young D-man Belaki, who looks like he might be a right shot D, but it's again, it's hard because you're trying to win now and try to add players. But also, let's say Connor signs for 5 more years. Well, you have these guys for 6 more years. You need players that can play with them because Ekholm's not a spring chicken. Kulak's not a young guy. He needs a new contract. You look up front. You mentioned Nuge, and these types of guys. They're getting older, so you have to replace them. Otherwise, you have 2 superstars with aging guys around them and no one to replace them with.
Well, you've also got a division that you've got a powerhouse in Vegas, and your boy Mitch Marner's rolling into town, and he's going to be playing the Oilers 4 or 5 times a year.
Yeah.
And he was doing his media today. It's such a stark contrast from like the classic original 6 Maple Leaf uniform to the Vegas Golden Knights
yellow
circus,
jersey, white gloves, gray helmet.
Yeah, it's like he's in a different league. It's like he's at the Spengler Cup.
Yeah.
Like that's what it looks like. But how do you think he'll transition, Strud, and how scary do you think Vegas is this year?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's obviously hard when a hometown player leaves, right? Choose to leave their town. I think I can see why there'd be, a lot of. I mean, it's hard. It is really hard to see that. But I'm on record. I'll double down. I'll take Pietrangelo over Marner any day. I know Pietrangelo's getting older, so we have Marner for a long time. But I think an elite D-man is really, really important. So, Vegas has some younger D-men moved up, but they also got Nick Hague moved out, and he, I get it. He's a bit limited, but man, he's a big guy with Stanley Cup pedigree and moves people around. So I think those 2 guys will be missed. They scored a ton of goals last year, right? And then get into the playoffs against the Oilers, and they literally got run over. So is Mitch Marner the answer to change that? Yeah, maybe they need more offense, but I'd be concerned without Pietrangelo and Hague and what that looks like back there this year.
Yeah, no, it's a very valid point. That the shiny new toy is going to get a lot of love, and he's a very good player. But Pietrangelo,
really
Hague, like you mentioned, even Nicholas Waugh, who left, and is not, he's not a superstar player, but he's got size, and he was on the cup-winning team.
Always solid for them.
Yes, always solid.
Good point.
So there's a lot of depth and size that have left for Marner. Who's not a big guy, and if it gets rough and tumble and heavy, man, he ain't the guy you're looking for. Yeah. That's not the guy that's going to cut it.
The West is a little bit more physical, but I think Marner is going to be fine. I think he's going to be a great player there. It's just an adjustment, though. Keep in mind, a different system, different city, different leaders on the team, all of that. It might take him a few games to settle into his new environment. But Struddy, before we let you go, I think you owe me an apology because you started a rumor this year that I had a tattoo on my back, and I don't know. Oh, you weren't on the show. It was Hayes and Frankie. They were doubling down, and Struddy was like, Noodles has the worst tattoo on his back, and then he covered it with something worse. And I was like, I don't have a tattoo on my back at all. So Struddy's just making things up to create content. So I don't know what's – do you want to react to that? Struddy's just making things
true.
up.
But I don't think it is. I side with Struddy on this.
Strud, what was the original thought of what tattoo was back there?
So I think there was a tattoo that was like, it looked like a sun, but looked like someone did it in the dark with their opposite hand. Like it was really badly done. Then I think he put like a tombstone over it or something because he went through a wrestling thing. So Noodles sent me like a nude picture showing his back.
Okay.
So what happened? There's way too much cheek. I could have put my wife's purse in there. But what I'm saying, I think, guys, it's clear what's happened here. I'm not lying, and he's not lying. He doesn't have one anymore. He got it removed, the tattoo remover. He went and got it done. And if someone's listening who did it, just text in the show and tell us where you got it done because that's painful. And I know Noodles doesn't like pain, but I think he might have done it.
I'm telling you, I promise on everything. I've got 13 tattoos. I do not have one on my back at all. And yes, I did send you a picture. It wasn't naked. It was just a crack in my back, and you said that was my ass.
It's not Tinder. My phone number's not Tinder.
I love it. Yeah, the tattoo removal, man. That's a big industry right now. Yeah, you make some good money invest in that thing right now.
13 mistakes.
A lot of regret.
You wrote back.
Well, how many guys had like full sleeves that they just wake up when I've done it in the last 5 years where it's just like, no, it's all gone.
Yeah. See, you know what? I only have one that I really regret, but it's not. Nobody sees it, and it's not a big deal. Like it's sad. It's a sad tattoo.
It's embarrassing. Right?
Yes, it's so embarrassing. I got it at the spine.
When Nasher had the Tasmanian Devil holding a hockey stick, and it looked like someone did it on crayons. Like it was the worst tattoo, and right on his belt line. And he'd have to it was so small. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah,
like, the worst tattoo.
Such
will
a
say,
hockey guy tattoo.
I was just going to say, Hayes, you could speak to it. Oh, you've got a million of them. But, like, there was young junior hockey players all went and got tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
And the buddies that I went with, one got the Noid, which was like a pizza delivery guy. The other guy got the Tasmanian Devil, and I got a Pink Panther leaning on a stick. And the Pink Panther now is like this sad, drawn out like panther.
Awful.
And the stick is like broken.
It just wants to be put out of its misery. The tattoo.
It's just awful. But I did it years. I was 16.
Yeah.
54 now.
Man.
Like, it's just terrible.
I had buddies saying everyone's done it. Same thing. Canadian flags with something in there. It's like, why do you need that?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's
Anyway.
The barbed
awful.
wire. But I think Noodles didn't you have a barbed wire around your bicep?
Why would I have a bar? I've got the tiniest, skinny, gross arms. Like, why would I draw any attention to my arms at all? No, I've never had a barbed wire.
Yeah, it must have been someone else.
Yeah,
Someone else,
zip tie.
Exactly.
Anyway, Strud, great catching up with you, buddy. Go find McDavid.
Yeah.
Let us know what's going on out there.
Yeah, I will. I'll go. I think I just saw him at 7-Eleven. I'll go to the next one.
Okay.
Find some
Love
pop.
it. Love it.
Okay, guys.
Thanks, Struddy.
Have a good one. Good to hear you guys back on.
Yeah, great to catch up with you, buddy. There he is, Jason Strudwick, joining us here on Overdrive. All right. Well, I don't know what we just accomplished there, but
I'm not sure either.
Yeah,
it's all good, man.
Well, he comes on 15 minutes late too. Like, what is
he's
he
a busy
doing?
guy. He's a busy guy out there, as he should be. All right, role play level of concern coming up. Best bets coming up as well. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.
Sunday, Week 2 in the NFL continues as the Dallas Cowboys face off against the New York Giants.
A Super Bowl rematch between the Eagles and Chiefs.
Plus, the Sunday Nighter between the Atlanta Falcons and Minnesota Vikings. Coverage starts at 1 p.m. Hear it all on TSN 1050. The NFL lives here.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
You can never ask me to stop drinking. Do you understand?
I do. I really do.
All right, role play level of concern. Haven't played this in a while. Good to have it back in the rotation. Let's get right to it. Oh, you're playing the role of Austin Matthews. We mentioned earlier someone would be playing the role of Matthews. What is your level of concern that your Rocket Richard winning years are behind you without Mitch Marner?
Are behind me.
Mm-hmm. No more Rockets. No more scoring the most goals in the league.
I am 52%. No.
What's the role play?
Jerry's.
It's not Jerry's. What's the role play here?
I got to be Stevie Caldwell, don't I?
Mm-hmm.
A couple of whiskeys and 5 or 6 beers.
Because the guy that put the puck on my stick is not there. That's the only thing. Sorry, I went Jerry's there. I was all I wanted Stevie Caldwell, I went Jerry's.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking that's about what it is. I mean, his right-hand man is gone. So how is whoever is going to play there? Because Matthew Nyes, as good as he is at getting in and getting pucks and getting in on the forecheck, he's not a disher. He's going to do a lot to help Austin Matthews. But whoever is going to fill in that void, big responsibility. I'm Stevie Caldwell. He's got to be at least a Stevie Caldwell.
Yeah.
Where is Stevie Caldwell in the level? Like
About 52%. Whatever the
Yeah,
equivalent. 52% is Stevie Caldwell.
I'm below Stevie Caldwell one notch. What is that? Pint on the patio, or is that a couple?
Not quite. I don't think so.
So that's where I'm in. I'm kind of in that range right there, because you said never again. I think he's going to. So I still believe in Austin Matthews. He's a goal scorer. Like
no, I know. Now only one guy can get the most goals, right? Like Draisaitl could score 58. He could score 57. He doesn't win it.
You're right. McDavid said he wants to score a bunch of goals. I get it. But Austin Matthews is proven to be a top-notch, the best goal scorer in the last 3-4 years. Well, more. But at the end of the day, I still believe he can do it. So I'm just above pine on the patio.
Yeah,
whatever that
I think
is.
health is a concern too, not just
Correct.
Marner, but
Yeah.
Marner. Where's his health at? Where's he at in his career?
Yeah.
Going into year 10, usually
Yeah.
the stats start to drop off. At that point.
That's
So-
a good point,
Yeah,
Brian.
that's fair.
Like, we're sometimes I still think we're like year 4, 5,
No,
7.
he's not a kid anymore.
Dude, 10 years, man.
It's a long time in the league. Long time. All right, Noodles, you're playing the role of Anthony Stolarz. Speaking of, long time in the league, not a young guy.
Yeah.
Playing the role of Anthony Stolarz. What's your level of concern? You're too late. It's too late to make the big money.
I am Stevie Caldwell.
A couple of whiskeys and 5 or 6 beers.
Because define to me big money, because I think his next contract, say he signs a 3 or 4 year deal, it might have something in a 4 in it. So
Okay.
that's
Well, Wolf, I
16
would say, is kind of big money.
Okay,
$7
so-
million.
yeah, that's-
longer term deal. Does he have enough time to prove that he's worthy of that? With where
I would
he
be
is in
more
his career?
concerned than I'm Rick Bushwood then, because
Okay. Well, an adjustment on the fly.
I am
6
gonna
Bush
like-
Light, 6 Bud Light, and I love them, tall boys.
because even if Anthony Stolar shows
That
that
guy
he-
is something else.
I love that guy.
Do the math.
Yeah,
I
do the
will.
math. Because of his age and where he's at. Like, to prove that he can be a number one. Like, Dustin Wolf has been a number one everywhere he's been. Number one in the AHL, number one in the National Hockey League, will continue to be. Stolarz played 34 games last year.
Mm-hmm.
So even to go and prove it this year, he'd have to play 55 and then follow it up with another 55 and follow. Like, I think that window is closed based on his body of work. Him being not discovered, but him getting better with age. He's gotten better with age. So I think his deal will have lots of money, but not the Wolf
I
money.
agree. Yeah, I think it's too late in his career.
Yeah.
And he hasn't, at 31, 32, the likelihood of him playing 55 games seems very
Right.
slim.
Yeah.
And, maybe they sign an extension with him before the start of the year. I wouldn't be shocked if that happened. Maybe he
Right.
plays it out. Maybe he bets on himself and, give me another year. Let me stay healthy in the playoffs, have a big run. Then you're really going to have to pay me more. I don't think he's waiting on a 7 or 8 year deal. That's not tenable. That's not realistic. But he may be thinking I should make, if Wolf's making 7-5, and I get what you're saying, but
Yeah.
Stolarz is a true number one on a really good team, and he puts up, multiple years of really good numbers, he's going to want to get paid.
Yeah.
So it is complicated. All right, I am playing the role of the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears. What is my level of concern? Caleb Williams is not going to be the QB I've been waiting for.
Man, he's getting a lot of attention on that gray undershirt he wore.
That was just untucked T-shirt.
It was just a weird vibe
It was
for a
weird.
starting
It's
QB.
warm still. Yeah, it's like you don't see that, man. You don't see
No.
quarterbacks kind of go off the beaten path in terms of their gear and the whole thing. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna Rick Bushwood this one.
6 Bush Light, 6 Bud Light, and I love them, tall
Tier
boys.
2. It was tough game. Minnesota's a good team, good defense. He was slinging it earlier, early in the game the other night, made, his first 10 completions. He can run the ball. My concern is that it's Chicago, too. It's not just Williams. It's the nature of the Bears and the whole operation that's very difficult to be successful there. But if you're the first overall pick in year 2, I think you got to win that game. Like, I can't let him off the hook when you
know
got
what
a big lead like
territory
that
he's
at home.
in? Who did I forget the kid's name. The Niners. They had that young kid and they're like, this is the
Trey Lance, you mean?
Trey Lance.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like they made a decision very quickly, like you're not the guy. Like
Right.
you're just not
and
the guy.
Purdy helped with that because Purdy fell
they
into
did,
the lap, and they don't have that equivalent in Chicago. He's playing. He's getting every start this year. They're going to give him the runway. I'm not completely, selling my stock on Williams. He's clearly got talent. He's got an arm. He's got legs. He's clearly got it. But does he have what it takes to be a leader? Does he have the winning elements of his game? The jury's still out on that. And I think if you're in Chicago, you're just always nervous because Jaden Daniels was there and they didn't take him. Just like Mahomes was there and they took Trubisky. And, there's a long list of the Bears making the wrong choice with other quarterbacks who were available at the time. So there's definitely concern. There has to be an element of concern in year 2 that maybe he's not the savior. Maybe he's not going to turn into some great quarterback that leads you somewhere in the future. Sticking with this theme, you're playing the role of the New York Giants. What is your level of concern? Danny Dimes is going to take off in Indy.
Ooh. What's the highest one? What is the highest
Nick
level?
Cage.
Nick Cage. Play it.
Nick Cage.
You can never, ever ask me to stop drinking.
The compliments that were coming out to Danny Dimes, like people in Indy were like, this guy's got ability. And I'm like, that's Danny Dimes, man. But it goes back to Dable. How bad was Dable or systems or coordinators? Like, Dable's on, like, he's got to be on thin ice,
Thinnest
man.
of ice.
Yeah.
Thinnest
of ice. For Danny Dimes to go there, first off, take the starting job.
Yes.
Well, the other guy, Richardson, quit on his team last year. It wasn't hard for everyone to pick that guy. But I don't know. It would kind of be freaky to see Danny Dimes turn into a stud. You know the guy that turns into a stud on a second team and just becomes a legend? Maybe Danny Dimes is that guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's 1 week. It's 1 week against Miami, and they're a disaster. But Dimes looked very good. He looked very good, and this is kind of what we're talking about with Caleb Williams. Sometimes it's not about the player, it's about the situation. The Giants just don't have it, man. The Giants they've been in a dark place for a long time. Offensive line not very good. Coach doesn't know what he's doing. You know, Sam Darnold, same thing. Got out of the Jets, went to Minnesota. Look what happened, right? Baker Mayfield got out of Cleveland, went somewhere else. Now look what happens. Maybe Dimes is the next guy to follow in that lineage. All right, Noodles, last one here. You're playing the role, one of the stories of the day. You're playing the role of the Minnesota Wild. You know where this is going.
Yeah.
What is your level of concern? Kirill Kaprizov is telling you he's not interested in staying.
Give me Rick Bushwood.
6 Busch Light, 6 Bud Light, and I love them, tall boys.
Wouldn't he get into that before the negotiations started, though, Hayes?
Well, that's what I was going to say. That's why I went there. Because obviously they're talking term and money. So obviously that means he is willing to sign a deal. It's just he didn't like the term and money. So the concerning part is, where does it go from here? Does it blow up and he plays it out? I don't think so. It's just, how high is Minnesota going to go, or what shorter term, all of that. I still believe he wants to sign there. So that's why I didn't go Nick Cage.
Okay. Well, listen, it could be a scenario where, why take this offer if this is true? If Minnesota put 8 years, $16 million per on the table, if they're willing to go there, you might be thinking they're willing to go to $17 million. Maybe in a few months, he's just going to keep testing them. Are they going to pull it off the table and not give it to him in a month if he goes back? Probably not. They're kind of showing their cards that he's in the driver's seat, and they want him, and they're willing to overpay. Because that's what it would be. I get the cap's going up, but Draisaitl just signed for 14, and Mitch Marner just signed for 12. I get state tax and all that, and I don't know the whole situation in Minnesota, but $16 million if it's true, $128 million total, and he turns it down. That's a wild statement. And,
wild is
yeah, literally, figuratively, pun intended.
Yeah,
it's quite the message to Bill Guerin and to ownership there.
You know how pissed the agent would I can't see the agent saying I wouldn't sign that, because most agents would be like,
well, you get 2 or 3% on that if you're an agent. Think about how much money you're making if a guy gets $128 million.
No kidding,
crazy.
And the guy says, "Nah, I don't think so." That is
good.
Outrageous.
Well, and listen, this is a sign also of where we're in a different world in the NHL. These guys all have a year left on their deal.
Right.
They don't. It's not like Kaprizov, McDavid, Eichel. They could all just play, right, and then figure it out at the end of their deal. Maybe they sign Minnesota.
Those are the pressure points, man. He can just be like, well, I'll just, the pressure point for the injury and not getting any money, but he can just say, maybe I'll just play it out, and then. Maybe he doesn't have a good year. There's all different kinds of things that can happen.
Right.
But
keep in mind the cap goes from 95.5 to 104, and then to 113. So 19.1 is the extension that he could get, and then it goes up into the 20s. He might be just waiting for McDavid to set the market and go.
That's dangerous, though, isn't it, Noodles? What if McDavid's like, I'll take 16?
Yeah, 2 years at 16.
Then how does
Kaprizov
get,
players.
turn that down?
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know. I mean, it's a game of chess out there, clearly, in the NHL right now.
Yeah.
And everyone's playing it. All right, best bets coming up. Jays, Houston. We'll get to that next.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, best bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Was on the under last night, Jays game. That hit. On the over tonight. Barrios and Alexander on the mound tonight. I think there's going to be runs scored. I'm on the over 8.5 total runs tonight. And Vladdy Guerrero Jr., 3+ total bases. I think Vladdy got cooking last night. I think he stays cooking tonight. I think Vladdy has a big one this evening. That parlay paying plus 320. Best bets powered by FanDuel. Must be 19+. Live in Ontario and physically live in Ontario, and please play responsibly. Sorry, I got off script there.
I was bursting my level of concern.
I was off script.
That's a Nick Cage.
I thought you were having a seizure or something.
You know what
you
it
were
was?
I'm looking at if you live in Ontario.
I'm looking at the lineup, and I read it backwards. So it goes, please play responsibly, 19+, physically located in Ontario. That's the end of the line. Yeah. And I went with living in Ontario. You know, be responsible. I started freezing.
You started
ad-libbing, and then I need to go burgundy in those situations. Yeah. That's my bad. That's not a good way to finish what I think has been a pretty good show.
Dynamite drop-in money. The broadcast school has really paid off.
Yeah, you would think.
I love it.
We didn't play the Kirill Hatton audio today, which maybe we should have. Did you see when Tiro was talking about getting named to the Ryder Cup team? It was at the end of
time.
Yeah, I don't know if we have it. I didn't send it to the guys. That's on me. We'll play it tomorrow, and it's a longer clip, but he's going through his drinks and how he was absolutely a disaster and woke up on the floor of the hotel room. And anyway, we've had some people suggest maybe we should add Tyrrell Hatton into role play level of concern.
Yeah, we'll get a little sniff of that quote tomorrow. And then
maybe
yes.
above Rick Bushwood.
Could be. Because, Tyrrell was in a pretty bad place, and I guess he was asked, like, what's the party going to be like if you win the Ryder Cup? Yeah. And he said, I don't ever want to feel the way I felt after I got named to the Ryder Cup, because we took it deep. I guess him and John Rahm. I could see Rahm being just
enjoying life.
I could see him having
tequila special, man. I think he owns a tequila or something.
He does. I believe he does.
I could see. Are they in they're not in the John Daly type of neighborhood.
No. They're professional. They show up and play, and there's a big tournament in Napa this week where all the American players are playing in it to stay fresh for the Ryder Cup in a couple of weeks. And I think a lot of the Europeans are over in Europe as well, right? Playing on the DP World Tour.
Every time I see Daly now on Instagram and stuff, he's like in flip-flops on the course, like doing trick shots and drinking a beer and smoking, like at 8 o'clock in the morning.
That's his thing. That's his thing now is, no shoes and show up and try to break a course record.
Yeah.
He gets into it on the daily.
He does.
Yeah, he does.
He enjoys himself.
But, the Ryder Cup's going to be good, man. A couple of weeks from now. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm
fired up to see these Jays tonight. Let's see if they
me too.
got.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. You get a win tonight. You would expect the Yankees are going to respond after the way they played last night. Boston won big last night. But really, if you're the Jays, we're joking about the driver's seat comment, but it's true. You got 18 games left. You win 9 or 10 more games. You're going to win the division, and you're going to finish top 2 in the American League. That's a formality. It's going to happen, and you can allow everyone else to go through the wild card dance. And you're already in the ALDS, and games
Save
1 and 2 are
some,
going to be at the Dome.
Tight ones, like you can have a few blowouts if you want.
That would be fun
and
acceptable
like every
as well.
night, man. I know it's that time of year, but give yourself some cushion once in a while.
Yeah. How about put a few runs on the board early tonight? Let Barrios breathe. Although they did that last time, they put 8 on the board for him, and he struggled. So it may not matter. But you're right about that. Just kind of breathe easy. Have yourself a night tonight. All right, Jays, Astros tonight. We'll break it down tomorrow. We got Packers, Commanders tomorrow night on Thursday Night Football, and Hazenbrough on the clock. So big game tomorrow night. Big swing with the Packers at home against the Washington Commanders. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in today. TV, radio, podcast, web, up on YouTube Live on TSN's YouTube channel. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at...
Maybe if you're physically in Ontario. 4 p.m.?
We'll chat then.